guided imagery, all these kinds of things. You know, that's stuff you do when you have cards in a string that you're not counting. You know, you look at those cards and say, why am I not counting, and what card could count to that card? And then often that's a gateway. You know, like for example, there might be a card like a success or this abundance card here, but in order to get the abundance card, you might have to you know, or a success here. In order to count to the success card, you might have to go, and usually you have to go through a very difficult card. So you want the success, well, Three of Swords, painful insight. You have to, you know, look at your attachments, your aversions, and your delusions, which is never fun. So there's often cost with these things that is included. So here, this is also proves, this is the problems and worries, proves to be a very interesting one. We see integration here of different aspects of ourselves in a more mature fashion through second chances, new births, if you will. It's sort of almost one of the born-again kind of cards, sort of like the death card also. And in the area of foundations, this is the Kundalini, the serpent. There it is. So it's almost saying, you know, like especially the yoga disciplines I've been doing have been paying off. But it's not an easy road, because this newness has been created quite a bit of vacillation in the elements of organizations. You know, which, for example, yoga groups do I go with? That's been very troubling. It's not so easy to come across, and I've been doing lots of forward motion, but planning hasn't been taking place, and it's increased confusion and vacillation to make things even more troublesome. And it brings us right back to that card. So even though there's lots of cards here, very few get counted. We basically go from Kunst, art, to Der Narr, or the Fool, to Der Wagen, or the Chariot, and then that's it. So there's a lot of cards not counted here. And so if we were to do guided meditation, ritual work, magic, however you wish to call that, prayer, you know, we would look at cards. So maybe, you know, this is a nice card, 6, success. You know, Erfolg, how do I get to Erfolg? Well, I need a card that counts to Erfolg, which would be something over here, and it might be a very interesting stream. It probably might be a very difficult card to get to Erfolg, and there may be no card that counts to it, so then it becomes a difficult question. Maybe that is something that's beyond the reach at this time. Now, let me show you kind of a difficult combination that kind of explains how this would work. Here is Ace der Scheiben, or the Ace of Discs. And this is, you know, usually new career aspirations, new material gain. So this is a good card. So let's say I want to get to that. Well, what counts to the ace? And I keep going back, you know, counting backwards, and I finally get to Die Sonne, the sun. So part of getting to the Ace of Discs is going to be the sun, and getting to the sun aspects might be dealing with also personal hubris as well as maybe self-confidence. Both of those aspects would come into play. However, to get to the sun, we keep playing this back, we have to get eventually to Prinzessin der Kelche, Princess of Cups, which is the earthing of water, or the practical application, use, and crystallization of emotions. Practical using your emotions and grounding your emotional life while having dreams. So, in a certain sense, being practical and grounding your emotions can lead to a place where you can look at self-confidence and arrogance, because we often have both in equal amounts. And then that can come to a place where there can be new material gains, such as finding, a day job or something that pays well, or finding my place in this world. And so these are aspects that you look at. And so those where you could apply guided meditation, ritual work, etc. Or things to meditate on in this day.